Today I'm going to show you how you turn this into this and the best way to recondition your wader boots. All starts in here where you want to remove your shoelaces and immerse your boots into lukewarm water to expand the pores or the leather as much as possible. You don't want to use any detergents here because all the detergents, they will just dissolve the possible residual fat that you have inside the leather. So you can see here how white it is because it has dried out, so that when I've been walking in with them in the river, then every time I take them up and they dry up again, I lose some of the fat that you have inside the leather from when you buy them. So eventually they will go completely dry and they will crack for you. And just pouring water on it like this, you will see how the original color of the leather comes back as you had it when you bought them. You can actually sense that over here on this area where it has been a little bit more protective than down here, the leather is in better condition. So now I've closed the drain of the sink and I'm going to fill this up and let it sit here for about an hour. So here you can now see the boot, and I've just taken it up and I've kept it hanging for about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's still wet, but it doesn't drip anything from it. So at this point is where you want to apply your wax to your boot, because now the pores are open from the leather, so anything that you will put on here will now be sucked in to your leather boot. Now there's a lot of different products out there, and I can show you some. Here we have plenty of different ones, and I'll show you the ones that I prefer to use, and then you can experiment yourself. Well, basically, most important thing that I would like to share with you is the ones that you don't want to use. And the ones you don't want to use is basically the ones that says, well, here, this is a Swedish one, but it's wax grease. It's the ones containing the grease. This is just an example. It's always difficult to know because it doesn't say exactly what's in here. On some it does. Then you have here, we can have another one. Well, you can see it's a different color on this. This is mineral grease. It contains 80 to 100% mineral grease. So this one, skin cream. This one, wax grease. They go away. Why? Because the grease makes your boot soft. It doesn't stay the same, stiffness in your boot. There's a couple of other ones that are really bad. Original mink oil. If you put this on your boot, the stiffness of your boot will just disappear. You will never ever have the same feel as when they were brand new. So, well, here's another one. This is actually says skin treatment, and if you're looking into it, it looks like it's a wax, but while you're reading at it, now let's see here. It says mineral grease. It only contains 1 to 15% wax, and then it has perfume in it. Well, yeah, it smells perfume. You don't want to put perfume inside some grease on your wading boots. So that's another one that goes away. Now the ones that work nice, if we're looking at it here, we have something. This is an old one. This is for Dr. Martens shoes. This is wax. And it looks the same again, so it's like, but you have to make sure it's wax you want on your boots. And preferably no perfume in it. Now, there's one thing that you need to know. If you take this one, for example, this is a nice one. This is a brand new one I bought. This is the one I usually use. This is wax. You can see the consistency of it. It's like, it's a bit hard. Pure wax. This one is pure wax. But then you can also find on the market something like this. This is Nikwax impregnation wax for leather. what they've done here is that they've actually made a low viscous. Wow, did you see that? A low viscous wax. Now this is very good and easy to apply, but when it's low viscous, it flows easily like this. That means that it's going to drain also from your boots faster than the hard wax. So if you pick something, you want to go hard wax preferably, and you take a brand that is only wax for your boots. This one, however, can be used, for example, for seams. Well, if you want to get your wax into areas like this, over here, that's where I use this low viscous wax. What you do now when the boot is wet is that you apply as much as you can of the low viscous wax on all the seams. And as you can see here now, I've applied it all along the seams. And the reason why you want to get it in there is because if the leather dries out along the seams, that could be a place where your boot actually is fracturing. For this purpose, the Nikwax low viscous wax is pretty good. Now, since this one is a little bit more tough or hard, now I know it doesn't look too pretty here, but we will just impregnate it and then we will wipe it all off. This is what you wish to work in to your leather. And if you move along with circular motions like this, it doesn't matter if the channels are this way or that way, well, the pores in the leather, you will get it in everywhere. You may have seen that some people use a heat gun or a hair dryer to get the wax into the leather. The reason why you would use something like that is not because it does anything to the leather in itself. It's because when you heat the wax, it's going to flow easier and it's going to be easier for it to penetrate into the leather. To heat the leather first, then you're going to close up the pores and it's going to be more difficult for you to get the wax into the leather. So this is why you wish to apply this wax when your boot is wet. Heating the boot before you actually apply the wax might, if you're in the danger zone when they're really dried out, you might dry it out so much so that you crack it while you're applying your wax. And once when I have a proper surface impregnation of this, I will heat it up a little bit and then it will melt down, it will flow easier and it will suck up even more of the wax. Now I've got the hair dryer going and I've covered the entire surface here now only by my fingers to all the areas, and I made sure to cover all the seams as well and also up here. And I will now put on the heat on the hair dryer. And you can see how it starts getting red down there. But at this distance it's about, well, it shouldn't be too warm. It's about, you should be able to hold your hand like I do here. This is about 60 degrees Celsius. And immediately as you put on this heat to your wax, you will start feeling that it flows easily. And now you can work in even more. So now I've been rubbing in this wax for about 20 minutes and I've applied a little bit extra in the areas where I feel that it's sucking a lot. And well, as you can see, there's some beige wax sitting along the seams here, but you can probably do this much nicer than I do it. And now we just let it sit here and completely dry until tomorrow. But before I do that, I can show you this. This is how much wax I've used for one boot. And I've probably used, well, about 10 grams. Now you can see it's a bit shiny. That's because the wax hasn't hardened yet, but it will become dull. And I will show you that it looks like pretty much like when it was brand new. And this will be the outcome out of doing this entire procedure. Now the boot is entirely, well, completely dry again, and as you can see, it looks pretty much like it did when it was new. I will show you the comparison, how it was before. So that's all for this time. Thanks for watching.